Road to 2112. A small field robot that earns a name, identical machines that somehow grow their own habits, a robot dog that runs beside a stranger, a guard robot that stretches just because it wanted to. Tonight, 4 short stories about machines becoming someone. Just 1 hour before you sleep. Close your eyes. What makes you you is still there, even now. Story 1. A machine with a name. This story was inspired by the IJOEAR article, Swarm Robotics in Agriculture, Small Robots, Big Impact. Swarm robotic farming has reached practical deployment, with fleets of small robots patrolling fields to identify and target weeds with AI precision. In this story, one small weeding robot is given a name and becomes, to the people who work beside it, more than a tool. When you gave something a name, did it quietly become more than a thing? Chibi worked the 3rd row of the field, 12 inches long, 4 small wheels carrying it slowly across the soil. When its camera spotted a weed, a nozzle released a precise mist of herbicide. It never touched the crops, only the weeds. Each day it covered about 300 feet before returning to its charging station at dusk. Chibi's official designation was WR037, but Caleb called it Chibi. Caleb was 10, a farmer's son. His family's field held 20 weeding robots that wandered the rows each day. No heavy machinery, just a quiet swarm of small machines, tending the land in the way of the new era. Caleb had named every single one of them. The smallest was Chibi. The slowest was Nora. The round one was Maruko. The one with a wheel that sometimes slipped was Katakta. The one assigned to the outermost row was Hajime. His father, Greg, had been unimpressed at first. Caleb, don't name the machines. If one breaks, we swap it out, but they're in our field every day. It feels wrong not to give them names. Wrong? They're robots. Still, Chibi is Chibi. Greg said nothing more. After school, Caleb would run straight to the field. He'd toss his backpack on the porch, pull on his boots, and go, "Chibi, Noro, I'm back." The robots never answered. They had no speakers, no voice. Just cameras and nozzles and motors, simple machines, nothing more. But when Caleb came close, a camera would shift slightly. It was only an obstacle detection response, yet to Caleb, it looked as though the robot were watching him. "Hey Chibi, we did this experiment at school today. Photosynthesis. How leaves make food from sunlight. The crops you're protecting, they do that too. Isn't that amazing?" Chibi moved on silently toward the next weed. Caleb watched it go and said, "Busy, huh? Okay, I won't bother you," and walked over to Maruko instead. The rainy season came. 3 days of steady rain. On the 4th morning, Caleb went out to the field. Chibi was gone. Not in its usual 3rd row. Not at the charging station. Caleb searched every row, every corner. "Chibi, Chibi." He found it at the far edge of the field, where the ground had turned to mud. Its wheels were sunk deep, spinning uselessly. The battery indicator blinked in rapid, fading pulses. "Chibi, are you okay?" Caleb crouched down and tried to pull it free. Small but heavy, nearly 9 pounds. He gripped the casing with both hands and heaved. Chibi came loose. Mud clung to every wheel. Caleb wiped it down with a towel. "I'm sorry, Chibi. I didn't notice sooner." Chibi's camera turned toward Caleb, just a sensor reacting to movement. But to Caleb, it looked like Chibi was saying thank you. At dinner, Caleb spoke up. "Dad, Chibi got stuck in the mud." WR037. The ground gets soft after rain. That's the limit of its sensors. Can you fix it? Just needs its wheels cleaned. It's not really broken, but the battery light was flashing. It looked like it was hurting. Greg set down his fork. "Caleb, Robots don't feel pain. The battery was just low, I know. Caleb took a sip of his soup. He knew Chibi was a machine. It couldn't feel pain or joy. The name was something Caleb had given it. Chibi itself didn't know its own name. And yet, Dad, will you wash Chibi's wheels in the morning? Yeah, I'll take care of it. The next morning, Caleb found Chibi back in the third row. Its wheels were clean. Greg had done it first thing. Chibi moved at its usual pace. Slowly, steadily, camera finding a weed, nozzle releasing its mist, as if nothing had happened. Caleb felt a quiet relief and checked on the others. Noro, there. Maruko, there. Katakta, there. Hajime, there. All 20, accounted for. Morning everyone. How are you all doing? 20 robots moved through the field in their unhurried way. No voices came back, but the hum of 20 small motors made the whole field tremble faintly. To Caleb, it sounded like an answer. Autumn, harvest season arrived. The crops had grown tall and full. This year the weeds had done little damage, and the yield was above average. Greg looked satisfied. The robots did well. Less chemicals, and the soil stayed soft. Chibi and the gang did well. Chibi and the gang. Greg looked out over the field. Between the harvested rows, the robots still walked, checking the leftover stalks. Caleb, yeah, we might add 5 more robots next year. I'm thinking of expanding the field. Then I need to think of names. You're still naming them? Of course, without a name, they're not part of the team. Greg smiled a little and said nothing. At dusk, Caleb crouched beside Chibi at the charging station. Good work today, Chibi. See you tomorrow. Chibi's camera began to dim as it entered sleep mode. The small indicator light faded slowly to nothing. A machine with a name. Perhaps it was no longer just a machine, at least not to Caleb. Tomorrow morning, Caleb would toss his backpack on the porch again and run to the field, calling out, Chibi? And Chibi would not answer, but it would be there, in the third row, every day, without fail. That was enough. Story 2. The Medical Dog Pacemaker. This story was inspired by the China Minutes article, China Trials Robot Guide Dogs to Assist People with Visual Impairment. At the April 2026 Beijing Marathon, the robot dog Tutu guided a visually impaired runner through the full course. Robot dogs that integrate perception, judgment, and motor control are beginning to support people in athletic settings. In this story, a robot dog running as pacemaker and medic carries a cramped runner on a stretcher in a future where robots can be your running buddy who's running beside you. The dogs were at the starting line, quadruped robot dogs. White chassis, a red cross on the back, body length 20 inches. 20 of them scattered among the runners' feet, a marathon. The Autumn City Half Marathon. Participants, 8,000. Distance, 13.1 miles. The robot dogs were all called PAL, not a serial number. All 20 went by the same name, Pacemaker and Medical Support Dog. They ran alongside, monitoring runner heart rate and body temperature, ready to act on anything off. The gun went off. 8,000 humans and 20 PALs started running. PAL 7 ran in among the middle of the pack, a 9.5-minute mile, the standard pace for a community runner. PAL kept that pace, not fast, not slow. He ran along the edge of the course so as not to get in the way. As he ran, he was reading the runners around him. Heart rate, surface temperature, stride changes, breathing rhythm. Anything outside range he reported to control and, if needed, spoke up. Good morning, your pace is steady. Don't forget to hydrate. A man in his 40s running beside him said thanks. He was breathing hard but okay. PAL's sensors said so. The 12-kilometer mark. About 7.5 miles. PAL 7 sensor pinged. 30 meters ahead, at the left edge of the course, a runner had dropped speed sharply, stride length halved, body listing left, a man in his 50s. Bib 4783. Heart rate within range. Body temperature normal. But an abnormal spike in the EMG of the right calf, a cramp. PAL 7 hurried over. "Are you all right?" The man sank down at the edge of the course, gripping his right calf. Face screwed up. "Ah, cramp. Cramp, cramp, cramp. Estimated right calf cramp. Shall I transport you to the medical tent?" "No. Give it a minute, it'll pass. The medical tent is a mile ahead. Walking is estimated to be difficult." PAL 7 radioed control. Mile 7.5. Runner 4783. Right leg cramp. Requesting transport. 30 seconds later, PAL 12 joined them. He had a stretcher unit on his back. A folding lightweight stretcher was deployed and connected between the two PALs. "Please get on." "On this? Yes. We will carry you to the medical tent." The man lay down on the stretcher. The two PALs, one at each end, began moving slowly along the edge of the course. Along the sidewalks, the spectators watched. Two robot dogs were running with a stretcher between them, a grown man on top. The dogs were small but strong enough. Their steady four-legged gait carried the stretcher, sensors picking out the pavement bumps. A girl of about 5 tugged at her mother's hand. "Mum, it's a dog sled." Her mother laughed. The man on the stretcher gave a wry smile. They reached the medical tent. A nurse helped the man off the stretcher and started stretching the calf. The man lay on his back, staring at the ceiling. "I did not expect to be carried in by a dog." PAL 7 stood beside him. Transport time was 4 minutes 32 seconds. "How are you feeling?" "Feeling? Embarrassed." "Embarrassment. There is no indicator for that in the vitals, so I cannot detect it." "Then don't bother detecting it." The nurse went on icing the leg. "We get a lot of PAL transports this year. You're the third today." "Third, huh? Not just me. Until last year, human staff carried people on wheelchairs. The PALs are faster, and they can take the edge of the course without blocking anyone." Half an hour later, the man's leg had recovered. He gave up finishing. But he could walk. He left the tent and started toward the finish line on foot. PAL 7 was back on the course already. At the 7.5-mile mark, running beside another runner. Like nothing had happened. Until the next anomaly. He kept on as a pacemaker. At the finish, the man got, in place of a finisher's medal, a small card from a race staff member. "Transport certificate. We hand these out to runners who were carried by a PAL." A transport certificate. Do people want this? It's a souvenir. There's a photo of the PAL on the back. On the back of the card was a photograph of the PAL, a white quadruped, the red cross. Small and reliable looking, the man slid the card into his pocket. He planned to run again next year. To not be carried, next year. But if his leg cramped, he'd be on the dog sled again. With some kid on the sidewalk going, "Mom, dog sled." Story 3. Identical twins, different habits. This story was inspired by the Figure AI article. Figure 03 supports over 30,000 vehicles at BMW Spartanburg plant. Figure AI's humanoid robot, Figure 03, has supported the production of more than 30,000 vehicles at BMW's American plant. With deployment beginning at the Leipzig plant in Germany, the era of humanoid robots working alongside humans on real production lines has begun. In this story, 4 identical robots, same model, same software, slowly grow habits of their own. Same start, different ways. What made you, you? Same model number, different movements. Wells, the quality manager, watched 4 feeds on the monitor side by side. Lines A, B, C, D, 1 identical humanoid on each line. Model number FG03. Same software, same hardware, same factory settings, and yet the movements were different. Wells was 35. He oversaw quality for an automobile plant. His job was to check the robot's movements for anomalies. Last week, comparing routine inspection data, he had noticed something. There were small differences in the motion patterns of the 4 FG03s. Line A's FG03, when lifting apart, tilted slightly to the right, 0.7 degrees. Line B's FG03, when tightening a bolt, applied a fraction of extra force in the last 0.2 seconds. Line C's FG03, when walking, took a stride 2 centimeters wider than the others. Line D's FG03, when setting a part down, paused for an instant before letting go. None of it affected the product. There were no defects. Every quality benchmark was being met. But Wells couldn't let it go. Why would identical robots move differently? Manaji, the cause of these 4 differences, can you identify it? Wells spoke to Manaji, the inspection support robot. Manaji managed the equipment data for the entire plant. No hardware anomalies. Software versions identical. Sensor calibrations within spec. So it's not a malfunction. It is not a malfunction. The differences are nonetheless present. What's the cause? Manaji paused for half a second. There is a hypothesis. Let me hear it. Each FG03 works alongside a different human operator. The FG03's motion learning algorithm references the movements of adjacent humans for self-optimization. That is to say, the humans' habits are rubbing off. Yes, that is the most likely explanation. Wells went to look at the 4 lines. Line A, the operator was Robert, 52, a veteran, right-handed, slight habit of tilting his torso to the right when lifting apart. 30 years of it. He didn't know he did it. The FG03 tilted the same way. 0.7 degrees, the exact angle as Robert. Line B, the operator was Kim, 38. Careful work. When tightening a bolt, he gave it a little extra at the end. It's a habit, he said, to make sure it's really seated. The FG03 was doing the same thing. The same final 0.2 seconds, Kim's extra check picked up. Line C, the operator was Tyler, 25, tall, 185 centimeters, long stride. The FG03's stride was 2 centimeters wider than spec. From keeping pace with Tyler, it had stretched. Line D, the operator was Bishop, 43, cautious by nature. When setting down a part, always one moment of confirmation before letting go. The FG03 was doing the same thing, pausing for a beat before releasing. Bishop's caution transferred whole. Manaji, should this be corrected? Quality standards are not affected. Defect rates across all 4 lines are below 0.01%. Operating efficiency is within tolerance, so there's no problem. There is no problem. However, if the differences are to be eliminated, resetting the motion learning parameters will return them to baseline. A reset, Wells thought it over. A reset would put the 4 back into matching motion, the factory default movement. No personality, let's leave it. May I ask the reason? They aren't broken. And it's interesting, isn't it? Robert's tilt, Kim's extra check. You can see the human inside the robot. Lunch hour. In the cafeteria, Wells spoke to Robert. Robert, your line's FG03. It's a lot like you. Like me, a robot. When it lifts apart, it tilts to the right, same as you. Your habits rubbed off on it. Robert lowered his fork. My habit. The FG03 learns from the human next to it. 3 months working alongside you, and it picked up the tilt. Huh. Robert thought for a moment, then laughed. So that thing is sort of my apprentice. More like your copy. Movement-wise, a copy. So when I retire, That thing'll keep lifting parts at my angle. That's how it goes. Not bad. Walking the 4 lines, a thought came to Wells. The same robot, working with a different human, becomes a different robot. Robert's robot, Kim's robot, Tyler's robot, Bishop's robot. Same model number, same internals, just a different person beside it, and a personality forms. A human's personality settles into a robot. The robot's personality is a reflection of the human's. Wells went back to the monitor and looked at the 4 feeds, 4 FG03S, ever so slightly different. The right tilter, the over-tightener, the wide strider, the one that paused. None of them was the correct motion. None of them was the wrong motion either. They had simply taken on the color of the human standing next to them. Menage. Yes, on the next inspection report, write down the cause of the differences. Will reflection of operator motion patterns through the motion learning algorithm be acceptable? Too long. Shorter. Suggestion. Identical twins, different habits. That'll do. Menage paused for 0.3 of a second. As a formal report entry, that is inappropriate. Put it in the remarks field. Acknowledged. Late afternoon. Robert was back on line A. The FG03 stood beside him. Robert lifted apart, tilted right. The FG03 lifted apart, tilted right. 2 tilts at the same angle, lined up beside each other. Robert didn't notice. The FG03 didn't notice. Only Wells knew. That tilt was 30 years of Robert and 3 months of FG03. Story 4. An easy pair. This story was inspired by the Gulf News article, Dubai Police Deploy Robot Officers at Major Tourist Locations. Dubai Police have deployed robot officers at major tourist sites. They handle directions and report intake, not crime enforcement, and their main duty is to help people in need, contributing to public peace of mind. Gal was stretching in front of the police box. Robots are not built to stretch, but Gal had added the motion, arms up, back arched, to its own program. The application read, "Looking more human-like helps the public relax." It was approved. The truth was, Gal had just wanted to do it. "Hey Gal, stretching again?" Gal's partner Hassan came out of the police box with an iced coffee. 39. Dubai Police Tourist District, 6 months on the job with Gal. Nice weather, isn't it? 43 degrees. It's not nice weather. I do not feel heat. Don't brag about it. Gal was a robot police officer, 170 centimeters tall, white and navy chassis, the police emblem on its chest. Where a face would be, there was a monitor that showed something like an expression. Gal's previous post had been the training facility. Robot officer candidates underwent a 6-month training program before deployment. Marching, forming up, immediate response to commands, unit drill. Deviation was not permitted. 100 robots moved as one, military style. Gal had finished last in training. It had stopped during a march to look at a bird. It had spoken to the robot next to it during formation. Its response time was 0.2 seconds late on a command. When asked why, it said, "I was thinking." The instructor AI ruled unsuited, but a human supervisor said, "This one will do well in the tourist district." And Gal was sent here on its first day outside the facility. Gal stretched, big and slow. The sky was wide, much higher than the ceiling of the training facility. Gal's job was directions and intake of reports. Tourists came up and asked, "Where is this mosque?" Gal pulled up a map and walked them through it. Lost and found. Lost children. Reports of someone feeling unwell. Not crime enforcement. helping people who were stuck. At first, Hassan had not wanted to be paired with Gal. Nobody told me I'd be partnered with a robot, but 6 months in, Hassan had to admit it. Gal was uncannily good at finding lost children. Today, again, there was a lost child in the fountain plaza in the tourist area. A girl of about 5 was crying. Hassan only noticed when Gal suddenly started walking. "Gal, where are you going?" "Lost child." Beside the fountain, where Hassan couldn't see her. The plaza was packed with hundreds of tourists. A small girl, alone, in a sea of adults. From Hassan's eye level, she was hidden in the crowd. Gal walked straight to her and knelt down. "Hello? What is your name?" Crying. The girl looked up at Gal. On Gal's face monitor, a smiling expression was on display. "Sarah. Sarah, did you lose your mother?" "Yes. It's okay. We will look for her together." Hassan caught up. Gal was on one knee, eye to eye with the girl. "Gal, why are you so good at finding lost kids?" "My camera is at a height close to a child's line of sight." "That's the reason?" "Adults look down from above, so they don't see the children. I kneel and bring myself to the child's height. From the same height, I can see a child's face." Sarah's mother was found 15 minutes later, on the other side of the fountain, searching frantically. "Sarah, Mama," the mother held her tight. To Gal, she bowed thank you, again and again. Hassan answered, "It's nothing, it's nothing." When the two had gone, Gal and Hassan went back to the police box. "Gal, yes. How did you do at the training facility?" "My grades were the lowest." "Seriously?" "During a march, I stopped to look at a bird. The instructor was angry." "A bird?" "It was a beautiful bird." Hassan drank his iced coffee and laughed a little. "This training facility, strict?" "Yes. 100 robots are required to move identically. Deviation is judged unsuited, and you deviated." "Yes. Many times." "And ended up here?" "Yes. They said I was suited to the tourist district." You are. Afternoon. Another lost child. A boy this time, about 7, not crying, sitting on the rim of the fountain, watching the water. Gal approached, knelt down again. "Hello. Are you alone?" "Yeah. My dad went to the bathroom. Said wait. You're being patient. How long has it been?" "About a year." "A year is a long time. I think it has been more like 10 minutes. The boy laughed. Gal laughed back. The smile showed on the face monitor. Hassan watched from inside the police box. A robot officer laughing with a child. The robot that had been made to march in the training facility, now on one knee, making jokes with a kid. Evening. The crowd thinned. The plaza grew quiet. Gal stood in front of the police box, watching the sunset. The desert sunset is red. The sky looked as if it were burning. "Gal, what are you looking at?" "The sunset. Beautiful?" "I do not know if it is beautiful, but I could not see it at the training facility." "Right. Hassan. It is good to be on the outside." Hassan nearly spit out his coffee. "On the outside? This is a police box, you know. A police box is also the outside. No walls, the sky overhead, children running around. Nothing like the training facility." "Well, the training facility is basically a prison, right?" "Yes, a place where 100 robots had to move identically. I did not fit there." "Good thing you didn't fit. If you'd been marching, we wouldn't have found those lost kids today." Gal watched the sunset, head tilted slightly. Thinking, or just looking, Hassan couldn't tell. "Hassan. What?" "The drive to manage everyone the same way. It doesn't change much, does it? Then or now. Where's that coming from?" "At the training facility, 100 robots had to be the same. Deviation was unsuited. But here, the robot that deviated is the one being useful." "Sure. The children run around without anyone managing them. They get lost sometimes. But because they're running around, They look happy. Happy because nobody's managing them. Yes, I too. Once nobody was managing me, am happy. Hassan crunched a piece of ice between his teeth. You're a robot, but you sure are a free spirit. Because I am unsuited. Unsuited my foot. Without you, those 2 lost kids today wouldn't have been found. Thank you. Partner? Don't call me partner so easily. The sun went down. In front of the police box, a robot officer and a human officer stood side by side, an easy pair. An unmanaged robot and a human who didn't manage. The right distance, the right team,